So what you got there?
I'm supposed to be documenting my experience.
Oh, okay.
So.
Are you guys documenting Mike documenting his experience? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with Mike Mills, director of Thumbsucker. Hello. And now your new film, Does Your Soul Have a Cold, which is a documentary. And Mike is documenting us because he's documenting South by Southwest in general.
Yes. Yeah. My
Yeah?
experience.
Excellent.
Yeah,
How's
so-
it going so far?
Quesadilla and the
Bruschetta. There's a
Um,
picture of beer and water. Yeah.
yeah, it's good. I haven't been here before
No?
to Austin or the festival, so
Really?
I'm trying to sneak out when I can and find something.
Yeah.
But the streets are incredibly wide here. It's my first impression.
Yeah. Texas.
Is that a
I
Texas
think
thing?
Texas is just wide open.
Everything-
I haven't spent a whole lot of time in Texas.
The drink I ordered water at the restaurant. I was like that. It was like a tub. So I guess it really is a Texas thing.
A bucket of water.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to have.
It was fine. It was good.
So does your soul have a cold? I gotta give it. You followed in 1999. Pharmaceuticals tried to break into the Japanese market, which was historically a not very depressed, I guess, state, or people at least didn't deal with their depression with pharmaceuticals.
Well, they didn't. Before 2000, they didn't really have a common use word for depression. They just didn't really know about depression, and definitely didn't know about it as like a mental illness that could be dealt with or cured or treated. And so companies like GlaxoSmithKline came in with these very large ad campaigns and website presence and symposiums and everything, and sort of taught people about depression and their version of how to fix it. you know.
Yeah.
My film's really more of a portrait of 5 people who are taking antidepressants than it is like a heavy-duty reporting on GlaxoSmithKline or something like that. But that's kind of the background and the context in which it takes place.
Yeah.
So yeah, mental illness in Japan is very not as talked about as here, not as open. There's hardly any therapy or very little therapy.
Yeah.
And so Glaxo and other companies like that had a real free rein to come in and kind of fill a big void.
I liked. I was reading in a quote in your release about how somebody was saying that the Japanese mythology doesn't have happy endings. Like, this is not a culture where anybody rides off into the sunset.
Yeah.
In their stories.
Yeah, I guess traditionally in Japanese kind of folk stories, sort of malaise is sort of a valued quality, you know. And also, there's another quote from one of the first concepts of Buddhism is life is suffering, which means that it's an integral part of life, sort of pain. But when you go there and really meet Japanese people and interview them, hardly any of them know anything about Buddhism or those sort of folk stories. After the war, after World War II, Japan really became a very capitalized, very sort of American-based economy and almost very American-leaning country.
So it seems like there's definite connections to Thumbsucker where people are grappling with melancholy, as something that's uncomfortable or that maybe they're trying to reject, even if it is something natural. Is that what draws you to?
Yeah, I mean, these. When Thumbsucker was premiering at Sundance, I was trying to get this financed. So that these two things are definitely in a certain wave of my life.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested in people who are struggling to find a place. People who aren't allowed a place in our sort of normal mainstream world and are trying to make a way in.
Yeah.
And if that involves sadness or depression or just feeling weird, I think is something that I can relate to a lot and would like to be the one who helps provide space for in our world.
Yeah. So you've felt weird and you're
yeah.
making space for others to feel weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has this weirdness been going on, Mike?
The whole time.
From birth.
time,
It's usually where it starts.
But seriously, I've grown up and known people have dealt with depression, and I have my own sort of bouts with it, and I feel like as a filmmaker, I can only make things that I kind of know about. That's the only subject matter I have permission to really make films about. I really have no business making films about hydrology or I don't know what. So
I've always wanted to see a film on hydrology.
or Yeah. So that that's just kind of a general working rule of mine. And so when this kind of subject came up, or I became more aware of it, I found I had my own access to it, my own sort of way to relate to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Does Your Soul Have a Cold is the film, and how are the Japanese relating to their souls having a cold?
Well, they ate up the ad campaign.
Yeah.
And but the 5 people I follow, they're all sort of, they're from like 20 to 40, and they're really interesting. I find them very charismatic people, and it's very funny, and they're very they're not like so depressed you can't understand them. They're a lot like everybody I know here in the States. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to us,
Yeah.
Mike Mills. It is an honor.
Thanks.
I love Thumbsucker.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thank you
Okay.
for sitting down.
Yeah.